Yeah, hi there. Bet you didn't think you'd be seeing another one of these so soon. Actually, you probably did, given how the Space Jam one ended. All right, so again, for the few of you who actually watch my videos, in my Space Jam review, when I said that I watched that movie because I felt like I had to watch another one, I kind of lied to you, almost, because I did watch it so I could watch something I wanted to watch, but also because I feel like I need to watch these movies in order to compare it to something else that I feel like I have to watch but don't want to. That's a topic for another, I'd say, day, but it's early morning where I am right now. But anyway, let's talk about Space Jam: A New Legacy. Um, this movie is kind of the opposite of the first one, in that where the first movie had elements of so bad it's good, and the third of it is boring, not interesting human stuff, and then the third is genuinely like good, funny Looney Tunes stuff. There's a lot of genuinely terrible things in this movie, and there's some genuinely good stuff. A lot of it is so bad it's good. I'll get to it in detail after the synopsis. LeBron James um, has trouble connecting with his son Dom because Dom really likes video games and creating them and designing them, but LeBron is all about basketball and wants Dom to be in that field. And obviously, there's a rift there. Meanwhile, the literal Warner Brothers algorithm, or algae rhythm, played by Don Cheadle, sees this up as an opportunity. There's that impediment again. Sees this as an opportunity to increase his own fame, and does so by capturing Dom into his serververse, and also forces LeBron James into a basketball game to get Dom back. And so LeBron ends up with Bugs Bunny in Toon World, and together they put together their team of Looney Tunes characters throughout the serververse, and it's up to them to fight against Don Cheadle, Algae Rhythm's own group of goons, a goon squad, get back his son, and also free everyone from the serververse that Algae Rhythm pulled in. This movie sucks, and it's great. Yeah, really going back on what I said in the last movie, because yeah, I didn't want it, but I thought it was going to be a piece of garbage. I thought the same for this one. It was a piece of garbage. And I wanted Space Jam 1 to be kind of so bad it's good. It was only partially that. This is so bad it's good. This is, yeah. There's genuinely good stuff in here, though. Because again, the stuff with the Looney Tunes is mostly pretty good. The hand-drawn animation, because there's a decent amount of it with the Looney Tunes, and is hand-drawn. And like, you can tell it's sort of a more computerized, like puppeted version, but it's really clean and nice looking and fast paced. It looks really nice. And there's this whole segment where they're going through all of these different Warner Brothers universes throughout the serververse, and this is in the segment where Bugs and LeBron are recruiting all the Looney Tunes characters, and they go through so many of these places. Like there's the DC universe, there's Mad Max, there's Game of Thrones, Casablanca, The Matrix, Austin Powers. You can see Rick and Morty at one point. You've probably heard of a lot of this by now, but I'm bringing it up because it's actually really important given both the strengths and weaknesses of this movie. I guess I should get to that right now. So I kind of said the first one was a little self-aware. This one is 100% self-aware. It knows it sucks and knows it's stupid, but it embraces that and just does not give a crap that it is stupid. And so I'll face it, this movie is a corporate shill. It's all over this freaking movie. Like, even in the background, there's posters for Warner Brothers movies, and it's on the buildings and on walls. And but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it means you get a lot of spectacle. You get to see all these characters from all these different Warner Brothers universes, all these different Warner Brothers properties with the Looney Tunes, like all these, like I said, the DC superheroes and whatnot that I'm less familiar with because I'm not extremely cultured. Sue me. I'm making it sound less exciting than it is. I suggest you maybe try to look up that part on YouTube or something if you can. I tried to, it was a little hard, but I'm glad I got to actually see it in its entirety in this movie. But again, the downside to stuff like that is the fact that, yeah, it's there for because you get to see it with the Looney Tunes, and this it's a fun crossover essentially, but it's also an advertisement for these properties. It's a double-sided coin, really, especially towards when we actually get to the basketball game part, the Space Jam part of the Space Jam movie. They bring in all of these Warner Brothers characters, like Scooby-Doo characters, the Iron Giant, King Kong, the Gremlins, and a bunch of other random ones who appear in the background, which is its own problem because that's something else I have to get to. And again, it's cool to see them there, but you also know that they're there to kind of say, hey, you know these guys, you know these things, we know, we own them, and we know that you like them. But at the same, it's kind of cynical there, but at the same time, I want us to wonder, why can't Space Jam do it, but Lego Movie can? Because if you think about it, the Lego movies have a lot of characters from all sorts of pieces of media, kind of just for the sake of Easter eggs, really. I mean, I see it as a little unfair in that regard. Now, that's not criticizing the Lego movies. I love the Lego movies, but I feel like it needs to be said because there's some hypocrisy in terms of the criticisms here. Although I'm not defending this movie saying it's not like a corporate product, because it is, but there is actual passion put into this shilling, if as contradictory as that sounds. And what I'd like to point out is the fact that we have so many like beloved and popular Warner Brothers characters in all of these areas of the movie, not only is that a treat to watch, but when we have more obscure cameos from other characters and stuff like that, those pop even more because we have the more recognizable ones, and vice versa. It's a good effect. And I'm saying it right now because I think another movie I might actually mention in a different video kind of goes against this idea. As cryptic as that is, again, it's another thing I'll have to get to later in this video. I guess before I get into other things, I want to talk about the human stuff, like I did in the first one. You know, LeBron James is also not a very good actor. He's better when he's voice acting, because we actually see him as an animated character for a little bit. Still not fantastic or anything, though. I mean, there's a whole arc with him and his son, and learning to, like, you know, it's the same sort of deal where, like, you don't have to be what I want you to be. You can be what you want. It's all about fun. See, that's the whole thing with this movie, because LeBron is all about fundamentals. When Dom just wants to have fun, and the Looney Tunes also just want to have fun. And so when LeBron has to work with the Looney Tunes, he's restrictive of what they want to do because he's that kind of guy. But that results in another positive of this movie, which is the second half of the game, the climax of this movie, is actually another part of this movie, like in addition to that whole montage of the different Warner Brothers worlds, that's genuinely enjoyable. Because we get to see the Looney Tunes go all out and be the Looney Tunes, because it's their time to shine and they've got no limitations. And also, if they don't do this, they're going to die, because that's something that the villain puts in there, because of course he does. Speaking of which, best thing about the movie, Don Cheadle as the villain Algae Rhythm, because he's having a ball. He's completely hamming it up. He's not exactly menacing, but in a movie like this, you don't have one of those. You don't have an actual intimidating villain. You have one that matches what you're going with. Just absolute stupid, off the wall, embracing the ridiculousness of this premise, because that's what this movie really is. It knows it. There's a scene early in the movie where the people at Warner Brothers are proposing the very idea of the movie to LeBron, saying, we can put you into all of these different Warner Brothers things. And he says, no, that's stupid. It's a terrible idea. And of course, they go on to do the exact thing. So the movie knows this is a dumb idea, at least on principle. They even point out athletes don't work as actors. You may think that's hypocritical, but I think the movie also still knows it is. Yeah, that's bad, but it's funny. I'm sorry, it is. God. So I mentioned the animation earlier. Like with Space Jam 1, the hand-drawn animation is really good, but the CGI, it's not as quite jarring as it was in the first one, but the Looney Tunes get turned into CGI for the actual basketball game. It could look a lot worse. Like, it could look a lot creepier. It's a little off-putting, but it's fine. They look fine, but it's completely unnecessary. Like, there's literally no point for them to be CGI, except maybe to make a commentary on the fact that there's no reason for these, not like a commentary on all of the movies where they adapt cartoons and put the cartoon characters in live action as CG characters, something like that. If that's the case, maybe it's still, I would have preferred that it's kept them 2D, but whatever. So yeah, the Goon Squad, I'm not sure if I prefer them to the Monstars from the first one. They're functional opponents to the Toons and LeBron, but of course, really, we're here for. We don't care about them. We care about Algae, because he's the best thing about this movie. You may notice I'm sorry, it's even later than it was when I made the review of the first one, so I'm still not very enthusiastic. If it were during the day and I was making this review, I'd probably be much more so. Like, much, much more so. Yeah, I was going to mention this. The crowds in the basketball game. There's so many Easter eggs, so many different people, like, not even just animated characters either, but also people in costumes. It's full of them, and it's a little distracting because of that. And also the people in the costumes are just kind of moving their arms around like they're gifts almost. It's, I don't know what that was about. Yeah, there's something I'm trying to get at, and I'm trying to think if there's anything I can get out of the way first. But anyway, all right, to cut to the chase. So I mentioned, because this whole arc with LeBron and Dom, right? In a movie like this, I don't think you should really have a sort of. I don't think you should have to try to have a serious character arc like this. And it's kind of like the first one, where I don't really care. I care a little more here. Just for some reason, maybe because it's more of a familial relationship. But Michael Jordan also had a family, so I don't know. Also, strangely enough, they made up a son for LeBron to have in this movie when he has actual ones in real life that are not this kid. whenever. I don't care about sports. Um, those sports stars. But I feel like it kind of sidetracked the movie a little bit, sort of. It's like there are multiple points in this movie where it reminds itself, oh yeah, this is a movie, technically speaking. We kind of have to be one. And this is what it uses as the anchor to be a movie. I think it could have done without it. I get it though. I mean, there are some people who want the movie to be taken seriously, but this is the Looney Tunes and LeBron James fighting against a bunch of weird monsters in a basketball game in this fabricated universe of different, like, Warner Brothers worlds controlled by this sentient Don Cheadle AI. Who's gonna take that seriously? And that's why this movie overall is, it's fun. One thing, I should clarify that the Looney Tunes are characterized pretty well, but something a little weird is that they're kind of referred to as a family in this movie, which if I had to, which again is kind of set up to serve as an emotional aspect of this movie to make it like a movie. But I also, it's kind of, I guess, maybe along the lines of what they tried to do with the Muppets, like in the Muppet movies, like, oh, they do all these things to each other, but they're like a comedy team, maybe. See, that sounds, if it sounds like I'm reaching, that's because I am, because this is a bit of a stretch. And by a bit, I mean it is a stretch, but whatever. I could go with that, but they take it so far that yeah, Bugs Bunny dies in this movie, because they make it clear that he's like the heart and soul of the Looney Tunes here, and he's the only one on this Toon world, because Algae kind of convinced all the others to go to other places. I don't know how that works, or I don't know why they agreed to do that. So, like, his real goal is to bring everyone back together, and he manages to do that, and he sacrifices himself to pull this move that causes the person who does it to glitch out. And so he dies this very cheesy fake ending, but of course he doesn't. He just ends up randomly in the real world at the end. And it's just like a throwaway line of like, I told you I can survive anything, because technically they did kind of say that earlier in the movie, but who cares? That's not supposed to be, you weren't supposed to take that and go off it for something. They're not going to kill Bugs Bunny, but it's dumb. It's pointless. And here's something. I already knew this. I already knew that this scene happened in the movie before I went and saw this one, because again, I just watched this movie just now. But on the I saw a video of Bugs Bunny's death scene, and someone compared it to the scene in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie where SpongeBob and Patrick are drying up. This scene wishes it could be that one. As bizarre as that sounds, but say what you will about the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, that scene is strangely enough kind of legitimately powerful. I just said that. This scene wishes it could be that one, because it's not earned by the situation, and he's going to come back. I mean, I guess it's kind of earned by the situation, but it's so, you just know it's not real. I know I'm missing something. Oh yeah, this movie has some really cringeworthy stuff in it. When, like, characters will say outdated stuff like "haters gonna hate" or "you mad, bro," and then there's outdated references like Matrix references that you've seen like way back. Like there's the exact same Matrix reference as the one I do in Shrek, which came out 20 years before this movie came out. And then there's a rather infamous scene in this movie where they sing a rap song sung by Notorious P.I.G. I don't know what they were going for with that one. And also other things like, Big Chungus, because that's popular. Yeah, this movie's, no, it's not very good. No, this movie sucks, quite frankly. So yeah, I went back to talking about garbage again, but this time I like the garbage. Yeah, this is a guilty pleasure movie. So if you, I don't, if you just want to watch Looney Tunes and something mildly sports related, and I don't know, or if you just want something absolutely ridiculous and bonkers and obviously not caring about what it's actually doing and more about what it's advertising, maybe turn your brain off and I don't know, if you got nothing else to do on a Friday night or something, because it's really the best way to enjoy this movie. So yeah, objectively, it is worse than the first one, kind of by a bit. Uh, but I like it a lot more. So high 3 out of 10. A subjective scale 7 out of 10. Wow. So yeah, this was the movie I actually wanted to watch, and that's why I watched the first Space Jam. But again, there is one more reason, which is there's another movie that came out relatively recently that kind of, in terms of premise and overall idea, is mildly similar to this one. Um, but based on what I've seen of it, my thoughts are not so similar to my thoughts on this. Make of that what you will right now, because I'm not gonna tell you what the movie is. I haven't even technically watched it yet, but I feel like I'm eventually gonna have to make myself watch it, and maybe I'll make another one of these, put it up here. I'm not looking forward to it if I actually do decide to watch it, but yeah, this has been Space Jam: A New Legacy. It sucks, but it's fun. Uh, and yeah, hope you liked this Space Jam double feature. I'm gonna go to bed now.